COVID time is all about having a strong immune system. Now we hear about new strains that are coming, with the COVID. I mean, all these things, and of course, it's great that the vaccine is out. But what can we do to take care of ourselves? And that is what we are going to be talking about. Immune. How do we build health strong with Ayurveda? So I have a very special guest today, Laura Plum. She is the best-selling author. Hi, Laura. I was just introducing. Namaste.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Nice to see you.
Yes, absolutely. I was just telling everyone we are talking about immune health and what can all of us do, to make sure our immunity is strong, and Ayurveda can help. And we have Laura Plum. She is the best-selling author of Ayurveda books. She has been on National Geographic. I mean, there's so many things. She's been such an accomplished person. So maybe you can add a little bit about yourself, Laura, and we go into the immune health.
Thank you so much. It's great to be with you. And I have to say, one of my favorite words is nourish.
Oh my God.
And that's because I feel like it's what most of us need. You know, we live in a world where we're running ourselves ragged, where we're feeling depleted. We feel separation. That sense of separation makes us feel emotionally and spiritually depleted. So in every way, we just really need to be nourished. And to answer your question, Ayurveda is about nourishing the immune system. And that's what I love so much about it. It's about nourishing the part of ourselves that knows how to protect us and keep us whole. So yes, I've written a book called Ayurveda Cooking for Beginners. I've been practicing Ayurveda for decades now. I've also used to teach yoga therapy, and now practice Jyotish. And I love the wholeness of the Vedic sciences, the fact that it's an invitation to remember the nourishment that is alive everywhere in the world around us, right? And to come home to that generative, regenerative, beautiful world, and live, sumptuously. Yeah.
It's beautiful. The work that you're doing, using Ayurveda and yoga, and there's just so much research out there now.
Yes.
How both these sister sciences and they're 5,000 years old. So let's just start with on the basics, on the framework of what should we do? What should users do using these two, Ayurveda and yoga?
Yeah. First of all, I think that we have a tendency to oversimplify. And I do see that in many ways Ayurveda is simple. It's as simple as reconnecting to nature. It's as simple as remembering that everything beautiful and bountiful, everything mighty and majestic in nature is also in you. And it's remembering that and believing that, because a lot of it is mindset, right? Ayurveda does say that the majority of imbalances and diseases start in the mind.
Yes.
So partly the simplicity is return to nature. But the complexity is that Ayurveda meets every individual exactly where they are. And there's some 7 billion of us now. That means there's 7 billion protocols, 7 billion prescriptions, 7 billion ways in which to help somebody restore that harmony. And so I think one of the things that we've done in the West is we've oversimplified Ayurveda. We said, just figure out what your dosha is and then follow that. Yeah. And really, it's not that simple. And I think we've caused a lot of confusion for people, which has also added to the stress and the depletion. So I think in order to be able to answer it simply, very simply, the first thing is return to nature. Remember that nature restores and heals. That's as simple as going for a walk every day. If it's raining, look out the window at least and enjoy the beauty of the day. At nighttime, look at the moon. Follow the moon. Learn to be a moon tracker. Right, because actually the moon and the way that light reflects on our eyes stimulates the secretions in the brain that can help re-regulate the hormones. For women, that's so essential. Simple things like, even if you can't go outside, from your window, find the moon. Where is she today? What phase is she in? Those simple things about returning to nature. Take your shoes off and feel your feet on the earth. Get your hands dirty in the earth. Go hug a tree. Why not? It feels good. So simple things like that. And then the thing about bringing nature in, whether it's a plant, whether it's cooking, And when you're working with nature or experiencing nature, remember all five senses. And this is how we'll keep it simple. In the Samkhya philosophy, I love this term for the five senses, the Indragyanis. These are the ways in which we come to know the world, right? These are our instruments of knowing. So let's use them, let's turn them on, and let's sharpen them up, and let's really pay attention to the world with all five senses. So when we bring food into the kitchen, let's touch it. Let's maybe give it a shake and listen. You know, like a yellow pepper and its seeds has a little bit of a shake to it. Shake, shake, shake. And, you know, then of course we're going to see the colors and the textures and the beauty of it. We're going to, of course, smell it. We're going to, of course, taste it. But how many of us are really paying attention? How many of us are really paying attention to even the taste of our food? So often we're just scarfing it down while we're busy getting on with the day. But what if we come home to the way in which nature is seeking to nourish us and delight us? Because the delight of nature is also part of the nourishment that nourishes the heart. And that helps to restore our hope and our faith in the world. So just simple. Sometimes it's that simple. When we then pay attention with that acuity, well, then we're also going to be paying attention to how those things are affecting us. And then we can respond skillfully. So how am I affected by the smell or the taste or the sight of these things? Is it medicine or is it poison? Is it nourishing or is it depleting? So the simple, I think, start with Ayurveda is pratyaksha. Pay attention, learn from your own direct experience, and let that be an invitation back into a sacred, sumptuous relationship with nature and with life itself.
That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And Ayurveda also talks about dinacharya, right? The daily routine. In fact, I downloaded one of the guides from your website, and it's beautiful the way you explained it. Maybe we can talk a little bit about, having some kind of a routine on a daily basis.
Yes, again, I love Ayurveda for its understanding of living in rhythm. And that when we live in rhythm, as one of my teachers once said, what do you do in a world that is ceaselessly cyclical? I love that. Ceaselessly cyclical and infinitely dynamic. Everything's constantly moving. There is no stop button. There is no pause button. But what he said is that when you roll with it, right, when you align with those ceaseless cycles, when you move with that infinite dynamism, then you have ease. Then you have fullness, wholeness, wellness, right? What is a cycle? But it's moving in a circle. And the circle is like a wheel. And wheel is the word that gives us whole and gives us wealth, right? And so when we go with the wheel of nature, we can really cultivate Ojas. Excuse me, let me just get this. Now that we're talking, the sun is coming out.
Yeah.
So dinacharya is this beautiful way of working with those cycles, and ritucharya as well. So ritu is the seasonal rituals, and dinacharya is the daily rituals. Di in English gives us diurnal, so it's those daily rituals. And really it's the daily rituals that help weave us back into, again, that beautiful fabric of life. It's also giving us time to take a moment and say, as we put the oil on our skin, I love you, thank you for holding me and carrying me, right? And as we sharpen up the senses by maybe oiling the ears or the neti wash for the nose, right? I always hold water to my eyes, scraping the tongue, swishing the oil. For people, it's nice to do one thing at a time, just start one at a time, 1 week this, add something new next week. And you build momentum, and before you know it, it's just as easy and quick as brushing your teeth, and you wouldn't start a day without it. Just a beautiful, beautiful day to kind of, I think, care for the container of this Atma, and I find myself, if I don't do the daily abhyanga and the daily, I would say, care for my senses, I really feel it. So dinacharya is a very powerful way of, again, feeling your wholeness and loving yourself as you deserve to be loved.
I think so. Yeah. So Dinacharya. So you talked about a lot of things, and maybe I don't know how many people understand Dinacharya, but it's a daily routine of Ayurveda. So you talked about
Yeah.
oiling, putting oil in your ears, oil in your squishing it. And there's so much research now. Coconut oil or some in your mouth. And you talked about putting oil in our nose and then massaging with the oils, right, on a daily basis, if possible.
Yes, I'm curious, do you use coconut oil or do you use sesame oil for your oil pulling?
I use actually sesame oil because sesame oil has more therapeutic, I think, properties. From at least the Ayurveda massage. I mean, that's what they talk about.
Hmm.
But coconut oil has less fragrance. I have the without the fragrance. But for squishing my like in the mouth, I use the coconut oil, not the sesame oil. But which one do you
Oh,
recommend?
you use sesame on your body then and
Yes,
coconut in the
yes,
mouth. Okay,
yes.
okay.
Sesame on the body because it's got a fragrance, right? A strong fragrance. And then
Mm-hmm.
in the squishing, I use the coconut oil.
I see, I see. Yeah, the sesame oil is so great, so nutritious, and even though it feels like a heavy oil, the molecule's small enough to really be able to penetrate the deeper tissues. Yeah, I love sesame oil. I use sesame oil for oil pulling in the winter and coconut in the summer. I just
Okay.
find that in the summer sesame's too heating,
Hmm.
but in the winter I find it just absolutely perfect. Again, because of the nutritious content and because of the smaller molecule and because the tongue relates to the water element, which is also relating to kapha, which tends to run cooler.
Hmm.
So I'm just trying to use something a little more heating for that balance.
That's great.
Yeah.
So explain us a little bit what happens, especially I think a lot of us have read about the squishing, the massage on the body, but the nose part, I think a lot of people don't understand, how does it help if you put oil in your nose, like kind of
Oh
going like
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, first before we do that, we're going to clean the nose. So we do the neti
Okay.
wash, right? Which is boiling water, adding a little bit of salt, and I add a little nasya. I have a little tincture, which
Hmm.
is something that's got a little bit of vitamin E and a little bit of zinc, and so that goes in with my neti water.
Hmm.
And in through the nose, one side out the other, and then changing both sides. You want to make sure that you really clear that, so you dry out the nose. You can bend forward, and of course use your Kleenex for the drip. I do a little bit of breathing, maybe a Bastrika breath, just gently,
Hmm.
just to make sure it's clear. Then adding the oil. And the thing is that the nasal passage is warm,
Hmm.
small. There's
Hmm.
some movement there. It's a
Hmm.
great place for germs to get in and go hide.
Yes.
So it's really important to keep that clean and clear. I know
Hmm.
for about a year and a half, I had a sinus infection that
Hmm.
would sort of flare up and go back, but it never really went away. And it was just such a great reminder that it can really get in there and then it's hard to get out, right?
Hmm.
So, and the nasal passage can be dry. A Vata person might have a more dry passage, but that just gives it, more chance for things to get in there and just go stick.
Hmm.
There's not enough mucus, right, to
Hmm.
clear it out.
Yeah.
Or on the other hand, a nasal passage can be full of mucus. So
Yeah.
either way, we're wanting to just clear that, whether we're clearing the mucus or we're clearing the dry dust and things. And then the oil is the same. The oil will help keep the passageway clear
Hmm.
to keep things from sticking and staying. So it's just going to create a light film that'll help to keep things moving through and
Hmm.
moving out when they need to be released. So it's another way of nourishing the senses as well. It helps with the olfactory nerves get coated so
Hmm.
that it can help. I've heard people, I have actually an Ayurvedic friend who used Nasya oil to restore her sense of smell after COVID.
Oh, wow.
So it helps to coat those olfactory nerves, helps to bring the sense of smell back online. And it's also said to help because the nose and the brain are so close. It's said that smell is one of the most stimulating senses in
Hmm.
terms of memory. So that's that connection between olfactory and our memory bank. And
Yeah.
so it's said that it can also help in some way to sharpen up the mind. Now, I don't know that there's real science on that yet,
Yes.
but I know a lot of people have, there's a lot of comment around that. A lot of people have had that as an experience, as just anecdotal.
I think that's beautiful. Nasya is and there's a lot of science on Nasya that I read about it, just but I'm not sure about the exactly what oil and all that. So what
Ah,
else? Yeah, what else would you recommend? I mean, this is a short session. These are like 20-minute session. We just want to give our viewers a little bit of tidbit, a little bit of sneak peek. What else would you like to talk about?
a sneak peek. I love. Well, with the nasi oil, you were saying it's often it's sesame oil, or sometimes it's a little bit of ghee, or maybe a blend.
Yeah.
And usually there's something somewhat warming in there, right? So there might
Hmm.
be a camphor or menthol or something that's going to help too. At first it's like, ooh, your eyes may water up a little bit. But
Yeah.
again, it's just seeking to clear out that nose, or that nasal passage, which is so important. I think in terms of dinacharya, the most important thing I find is I feel like abhyanga is so important.
Hmm.
Now we're coming, where I am in the Northern Hemisphere, we're coming out of winter and we're heading into spring. So
Hmm.
maybe we're moving from abhyanga to a body scrub every morning.
Okay.
But spend some time every morning with yourself
Hmm.
and checking in with yourself. And one of my teachers used to just wake up every day and just check in. What do I need today? Do I
Hmm.
need a quick brisk walk, or do I need a slow yoga practice? Do
Hmm.
I need to start with meditation, or should I
Hmm.
do asana, pranayama, and then meditation?
Hmm.
I think the most important thing is when you check in with yourself and you trust your own intuition and your
Yeah.
own direct experience. I think so much of the world has taken that from us, or tried to take that from us. You should do this, you should do that, you should do that. And we're so externalized.
I know.
Now we're in a state of doubt and uncertainty. When clearing the doubt, clearing the uncertainty, by coming back to that one certain,
Hmm.
clear, non-changing thing, which is that heart of you, that essence of you, that does know how to heal you and how to restore you and how to reunify with nature.
Hmm.
The other thing is meals. Eat
Yes.
seasonally,
Yes.
eat organic as
Hmm.
much as possible, eat unprocessed. So try to find food that doesn't have labels, doesn't have packages. A
Hmm.
banana, an apple, a broccoli, it doesn't need a label. It's just broccoli. And
Yeah.
if you do go for labels, fewest ingredients possible. Seasonal, organic, unprocessed, and
Hmm.
as much as possible locally
Yes.
grown.
Yes.
If we could eat seasonally, and if we could prepare our meals
Hmm.
to enhance digestion, that will go a long way
Hmm.
to really boosting our immune system.
Hmm.
You are what you eat, but more importantly, you are what you digest. And what you
Yes.
digest in its end product becomes your immune system,
Hmm.
right? It becomes your Ojas,
Hmm.
that eighth
Hmm.
invisible end product of all digestion through the body. So be careful that you are not only eating soul food,
Hmm.
seasonal, organic,
Yeah.
unprocessed, and local, but prepare the food so that it's best for digestion, which usually means lightly cooked, right?
Hmm.
Maybe lightly spiced, light and easy to digest,
Hmm.
unctuous.
Hmm.
Eat at the same time every day, lighter in the morning, lighter in the evening, main meal, lunchtime.
Okay.
Simple, simple.
Yes. Yes. So no, I think these are really simple tips that all of us can start doing on like following a daily ritual. And then you said talked about the seasonal ritual, the seasonal cleansing, the ritucharya. But at least we start with the daily ritual as a beginning, right? Just a simple
Absolutely.
beginning.
Absolutely. And now, if it's March is a great time to take a few days and do some kind of a mono fast. Maybe it's khichdi for a few days, or
Okay.
dal, whatever, dal and greens, something that's just going to help reset. These
Hmm.
Sundays, these transitional periods
Hmm.
can be vulnerable periods.
Hmm.
So help yourself with lots of rest. I think of Epsom salt baths,
Hmm.
pranayama, or a good walk, or some yoga.
Hmm.
Just take good care of yourself, because you deserve it. The world needs people who are alive and whole in their body,
Hmm.
because the world is very stressed right now. And we
Yes.
need people who can be calm and present and available. I mean, that's really what we need. We need
Hmm.
presence. And
Hmm.
these practices help us with that.
Well, thank you so much. I think you've given us the entire wisdom here and a daily wisdom that all of us can start doing.
I love your work. Thank you for what you're doing. You're really, really a gift to us. Thank you.
No, I'm nothing without you. That's the truth, and without all the viewers, we are just trying to bring the natural medicine, the natural way of living every day to our users. And that's what we are trying to do, to take care of yourself. What you are propagating, that's the same thing we are doing, but we're just having someone like you come in and help us and help our viewers. That's all.
Well, thank you for doing it. Thanks to your viewers.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone. And just take care of yourself. That's what Laura's message is. And connect with nature and help us share these sessions. With that, namaste. This is
Namaste.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.